Grundy. Please give it up one more time for the incredibly talented Grundy dancers. I'm Matty Mills, and it is my honour to join you today, both those gathered here at the Rangaroo, but for all those tuning in from across the country on NITV as well. It is a privilege to stand on Gadigal land, a place of profound cultural and historical significance as a proud WugulOra man. This land has long been a meeting place, a source of connection, a symbol of resilience and renewal. Gathering under this gunya is a way we continue to share stories and First Nations culture. Built at the start of January, this gunya was co-designed by Sydney Festival Creative Artist in Residence, Jake Nash and Cave Urban. Today we come together in the spirit of unity, to reflect, to learn and to celebrate the extraordinary depth of our diverse shared story. WugulOra means one mob, and it reminds us that we are all part of a collective journey, a journey spanning over 60,000 years of First Nations culture, knowledge and storytelling. And thank you to James P. Simon, whose artwork River Life was projected onto the sails of the Opera House just before dawn this morning. A stunning artwork there. James was inspired by the relationship that Aboriginal people have to the waterways, which not only is about fishing, but also about the connection to culture, spirit, songlines, and dreaming. Chosen by the Metropolitan Local Aboriginal Land Council in partnership with the Umali Arts Cooperative, it was the 5th year in a row that Indigenous artwork has illuminated the sails as the first activation on such an important day for our country. We would also like to extend a very special welcome to the Honourable Her Excellency, the Honourable Margaret Beanford, Governor of New South Wales, and Mr Dennis Wilson, the Honourable Chris Mears, Premier of New South Wales, the Honourable David Harris, Minister for Aboriginal Affairs and Treaty, distinguished guests, and most importantly, our First Nations community, our mob. It is now my privilege to invite Councillor Yvonne Weldon, a proud Wiradjuri woman and member of the Metropolitan Local Aboriginal Land Council, to welcome us to country.
Good morning. This is a somber day, a day of mourning for the First Nations of this country. We need to show respect and commemorate the ancestors. Before we start the proceedings, if you are able, would you all please stand for a minute's silence. The injustices that continue at our unsung hero warriors. What has taken place must be owned. The cruelty and brutality to my people needs to be acknowledged. The rates need to change. We are still here welcoming all, and yet there are parts of life in this country, First Nations included in the realms being exist. The whipping up of hate and mistruth hurts us all. The truth telling and the ownership of impacts can change cycles. We sit down together to listen and hear the trauma that continues to be lived. With reflection and responsibility, kindness and compassion, healing and commence. This is a victory, acknowledging the barriers and continues to control or power. Don't treat people in ways that you would accept you and your family. We must commit to making a positive difference. Producing our legacy complete and our honours and history. Not out of the guilt, but to right the wrongs of the past, to not continue in our present, certainly not in our future. If we don't, we will never truly create an all-embracing future. Think about the difference we can make, standing strong, First Nations, all Australians, working together as one one community and achieving as one community. To make that future possible, let us all draw upon my people's spirits as we continue on our journey. May my people's spirits walk with you and guide you as we strive forward for us all. Before time was counted, we were here. We have always known. We continue because we have survived. Regardless of whether you call this Invasion Day, Survival Day, or Australia Day, we need to heal and we can only do this together. Again, on behalf of the Metropolitan Local Aboriginal Land Council, Ningini, Nala, Wongan, Maori, Pajari, Gadi, Nurda, welcome to Gadigal country. This always was, always will be First Nations land. Thank you.
Now it is my absolute honour to welcome Her Excellency the Honourable Margaret Beasley, Governor of New South Wales, to share her reflections with us this morning.
May I commence with great respect using the language traditional owners here. We welcome you in their language, WugulOra, the Yarn, the Bana, and Morana. And pay my respects to the Gadigal, the traditional owners of this land where we are this morning. Pay my respect to their elders, past, present elders, and emerging. And to all First Nations peoples across our state and nation, those present here today, whose generosity in sharing tradition and ceremony commences our Australia Day celebrations. Premier, ministers, leader of the opposition, members of the Federal Parliament, councillors, meet everyone here at this very special event. This morning's ceremony reminds us that we're on ancient land, and it speaks to the knowledge and the culture passed down from generation to generation in an unbroken chain of care and custodianship. It gives to us each a deeper understanding of the meaning and connection to country, epitomised in the famous image of the then Prime Minister Godfrey Groom pouring a handful of red earth into the palm of Grungy elder Vincent Lingiara's hand 50 years ago. In 1966, Vincent Lingiara had been on strike over the wages and conditions of Aboriginal workers and their families on Wade Hill Station, some 600 kilometres south of Darwin. As an inquiry as far back as 1945 had found, not even the 5 shillings a day that was then the minimum award rate for Aboriginal workers was being paid. Lasting 9 long years, the strike evolved into a claim for land rights. And then finally, on the 16th of August 1975, land was returned. The moment immortalised in that famous photograph that I mentioned, taken by renowned Indigenous photographer, Merv Bishop from Dubbo, who was one of my husband Dennis's school friends at Dubbo High School. As Whitlam poured the earth into Vincent's hand, he acknowledged what country meant when he said, "I solemnly hand to you these deeds as proof in Australian law that these lands belong to the Gurungi people." And Vincent responded, "Now we can all be mates." 12 years earlier in Arnhem Land, 700 kilometres east of Darwin, under the shade of a Doolaroo tree, 12 Yolngu women and men gathered as representatives of their 6 clans and tens of thousands of years of authority to sign a petition written on the bark of a stringy bark tree in the Gumaj clan language and in English. The petition featured traditional Yolngu designs of turtles, fish, ray and goanna, representing their sacred relationship to and ownership of their land. The Yirrkala Bark petitions, as they became known, were tabled in the Australian Parliament on the 14th of August 1963, the first formal petition for Aboriginal land rights to be submitted to the Federal Parliament. And today, those petitions sit under glass casings in Canberra's Parliament House Members Gallery. 29 years after the presentation of the petitions, 17 years after the handover of the Gurindji lands, native title was recognised in Australian common law in the Mabo decision in the High Court. This year marks another important anniversary in our state, the 60th anniversary of the 1965 Freedom Ride, a 15-day bus ride undertaken by students from the University of Sydney, including the former Chief Justice of this state, and Charles Perkins, through 20 New South Wales towns, where Indigenous families lived in appalling conditions, overcrowded houses, many without running water or electricity, and where, infamously, the little Aboriginal kids of Moree were banned from swimming in the local pools. I've recounted these significant struggles in our relatively recent history to remind us of the courage and the dignity of the leaders who led them, and to suggest that we might ask ourselves, still today, why did recognition of rights take so long? And why should it be so hard for things to change? I'm mindful in asking those questions that every day is an occasion to celebrate the uniqueness of this land, to unravel its history, to understand the injustices, to marvel at the ancient knowledge of First Nations, and to honour their achievements. Next year, it will be 60 years since Charlie Perkins was the first Aboriginal person to graduate from Sydney University. In the last 5 years, there have been 2 First Nation Rhodes Scholars from New South Wales. I've had the extraordinary privilege of being on that selection committee. We have amazing artists. We have renowned musicians, including here in the audience today. We are sitting underneath a piece of magnificent art. These are the things that we all continue to celebrate. And today, when you're out and about, or indeed on any day, when you wander along Macquarie Street and pass the Parliament building, take time to look at the acknowledgement of country sculpture, which pays respect to Gadigal elders and acknowledges all First Nations people of New South Wales. Unveiled in August last year and set in the native garden of the Parliament's forecourt, featuring the grass tree, the Gadi, First Nations artist Alison Page's sculpture of earth, stone, ochre, shell and ash is an invitation, indeed a reminder, to respect this vibrant living history and culture of First Nations Australia. May I conclude with those words, and again in the language of the Gadigal, as they sing the national anthem. Yiribana, Australia Gal. This way, Australia.
Thank you for reminding us of those typical stories of natural history. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it is an honour to introduce our next artist joining us from Yirrkala community in Arnhem Land. Rowan Maimuru, a gifted singer and songwriter, brings with him soulful melodies that reflect a love for country and culture, overlaid with distinctive perspectives on the modern world. Joining him is WugulOra, a powerful songman and dancer who has dedicated his life sharing traditions of his people as a musician, teacher and cultural consultant. Together, they will perform Bayini, a song that Rowan wrote that resonates with the spirit of connection and found bond between people, land and culture. Please join me in welcoming Rowan Maimuru and WugulOra. You will no doubt be familiar with that song, Day In, which was written by Rowan and recorded by the late great Coolmore Pingu as a duet with Sarah Blackstone and performed at Voice Australia with Delta Woodrow. That's a stunning rendition. Thank you very much. One more time. Good morning, everyone, and thanks for getting up early and making an effort to be here on the land of the Gadigal people. I would like to thank the dancers and the singers for the brilliant performances this morning and for sharing their culture with us, all of us. Today is about celebrating Australian identity, and it's only right that we begin with the oldest continuous culture on earth. Particularly great to see so many young people here today embracing that heritage and showing the world how proud they are to be Aboriginal. Can I also thank Yvonne for her typically generous welcome to country this morning, and of course Your Excellency the Governor. For the same reason we begin significant national events with an acknowledgement of country, I think it's important we start our National Day with this event here. Because Australia is a great country. When we look around the world, we know how lucky we are to live in a place like this. But we are undeniably greater when we value all of our heritage, beginning with the heritage of our First Peoples. There's no doubt in my mind that we are stronger when we fly the Australian flag and the Aboriginal flag side by side. When you look at the Harbour Bridge when you look at the Harbour Bridge and you see those flags waving together, it's not a sign of division. It's a picture of unity, of friendship, and a sign of hope for the future. We are approaching, as the Governor said, a significant anniversary in New South Wales. Next month will be 60 years since the Freedom Riders packed their bags in Redfern and drove across this state to campaign against discrimination and unfair treatment of Aboriginal people on their own land. No doubt, we have not solved the problems that motivated that historic drive across this state. But it's also true to say that much has changed since Charlie Perkins packed his bags. Back then, it would have been difficult to imagine our National Day beginning with an event like this.
Back then it may have been difficult to picture and imagine so many Indigenous Australians filling up our national life, in our parliaments, on our screens, in our culture, on our sporting fields. And if things have changed, it's because of Aboriginal people who pushed us to be better, to tell the full truth, to embrace Indigenous excellence wherever we find it. So today, as we mark Australia Day, as we take stock of our successes and we consider the challenges ahead, perhaps we can reflect on the words of the late Charlie Perkins, the original freedom rider, who said, "My expectation of a good Australia is when white people would be proud to speak an Aboriginal language, when they realise the Aboriginal culture and all that goes with it, philosophy, art, language, kinship, is all part of their heritage. Australians can inherit 60,000 years of culture, and all they have to do is reach out and ask for it." Chris Minns, New South Wales Premier. In a moment, the Burungi dancers will perform a contemporary dance piece, Barangaroo and the WugulOra Fisherwomen, inspired by traditional aquacultural practices and the stories of Barangaroo, a powerful Camaragal leader and matriarch of the Eora Nation. This performance pays homage to the deep connection between the people of the Eora Nation and the stunning Sydney Harbour behind us. The choreographers have asked me to share the following details about their performance. The Gadigal, the sunrise saltwater people belonging to the grass tree. The grass tree is the traditional source for fishing spears, fire together. We acknowledge Barangaroo and the stories of the mighty fisherwomen and the Barra fish hooks. We bring the Nawi, the traditional bark tree canoes, Barangaroo and the fisherwomen. We remember the men ashore fishing from the rock with their 3 barbed spears. As the sun sets in the west and the moon rises to the east, Barangaroo and the fisherwomen would sing to the moon, guiding the tides for the right time to fish, while sitting in the Nawis of the stars during the stillness of the night. Today, on the iconic gathering ground of the Gadigal and in the true spirit of survival, we continue to tell stories, revive traditions, the dance, and the language. We honour the sovereign lands, clan borders, and boundaries of the Gadigal people. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Burungi dancers performing Barangaroo and the WugulOra Fisherwomen. and Olivia Cofox. State today. Good morning, I'm Maddie Mills. Have a safe, stay deadly, have a great Father's Day.